The owner of this coffee shop was living a happy life with his family, but suddenly one unexpected event after another began to happen in his life. Just because he looked like someone else, his life turned into a complete hell. Some people from his past came back and tried to destroy everything he had, but in the end, how he stopped them is something you will see in today's full video. I'm talking about the super hit action movie Leo, released in 2023. So let's not waste time and begin the explanation of Leo, the third movie in the LC universe. The movie starts with a brutal attack in a house in Tamil Nadu, India. A group of men break into the house, kill several people, and even keep an old man hostage. In the end, they also kill him. But the big question is, who are these killers and why are they doing all this violence? We will find out the answers very soon. Next, the scene changes completely. In a village in Himachal Pradesh, suddenly a wild hyena comes down from the hills and starts attacking people. The villagers panic and run in fear, while the hyena attacks and injures many people. Just then, when the situation was getting out of control, the forest rangers arrived to rescue the hyena. But even all of them together could not stop it. One after another, more people were getting badly injured. In this moment, Forest Ranger Joshi tried to contact his friend Partiben, an animal rescuer. At that time, Party was on his way to drop his son Siddharth at school. When Joshi called, Party immediately agreed to help and rushed to the society where the hyena was attacking people. He left his son inside the car and quickly started working. First, he told all the teachers and students of the nearby school to go inside. Once everyone was inside, they closed the school gate. But the hyena tried to break through the gate and attack people. Party climbed on top of the wall and used a dangerous technique. He set off small explosions on the icy ground. This made the hyena step back for a moment. But suddenly, a big problem happened. 3 school students came out of the bathroom and the hyena got ready to attack them. At the last second, Party jumped down from the wall and distracted the hyena toward himself. This gave the students time to run safely back into the school. Now, the real fight between man and animal began. The hyena charged at Party several times, but he used his great fighting skills to dodge and kick it away. Meanwhile, he shouted to Joshi to use the tranquilizer gun and make the hyena unconscious. On the other side, Joshi came with the tranquilizer gun, but the gun got jammed and did not fire. So Party decided to take a big risk. He wanted to use his spear from the car to knock the hyena down. Joshi quickly gave the tranquilizer dart to Siddharth, Party's son. The boy tied it to the spear with his shoelace and threw it perfectly toward his father. Just like his brave dad, the son also showed great skill. Party jumped, caught the spear, and used it to hit the hyena. Finally, the animal became weak and slowly collapsed. In this way, Party risked his life, fought the wild beast, and saved everyone. Even though he got badly injured on his back, Party did not take any credit for this. The forest officers took all the credit, and Party had no problem with that. He never liked public attention. Party was a very simple and honest man. He lived a happy life with his wife, Satya, his son Siddharth, and his little daughter, Chintu. With the income from his coffee shop, he could take care of his family and pay for his kids' studies. Apart from his family, Party also loved animals very much. Whenever he rescued an animal, he took care of it like his own child. A few days ago, he had rescued a hyena and slowly tamed it. He even gave it a name, Subramani. Soon, the whole family also got close to this hyena. Meanwhile, the truth about the men we saw in the opening scene was revealed. They were not normal people. They were professional robbers. The old man they killed in the first scene was the collector of that town. After killing him, they looted everything from his house. But the robbers did not stop there. This time, they stood on a lonely road and began looting anyone who passed by. First, they threw a stone at a bike, making the rider fall. Then, they went even further and flipped an entire car upside down. They found an ATM card with the driver and demanded the PIN. When the man refused to give it, one of the robbers shot him dead. After that, they pushed the car off the cliff. The next morning, Party heard about this murder from his friend Joshi. Joshi invited him to see a rare bird that had been rescued from animal smugglers. While checking the bird, Party told Joshi to call the veterinary doctor for treatment, but Joshi explained that their vet had died in a car accident last night. Just then, Joshi received a phone call. The truth came out. The doctor wasn't killed in an accident, he was shot dead, which means the man killed on the road last night was none other than this doctor. Hearing this, Party became very thoughtful. Such brutal crimes had never happened in this town before. But little did he know, the same night he was going to face these killers himself. That night, as usual, Party closed his coffee shop and was dancing with his little daughter to the sound of music. Suddenly, one of the robbers, the craziest psycho of the gang, walked into his shop. Party calmly told him the shop was closed, but he ordered a chocolate coffee anyway. Party already knew the guy was a robber because he had spotted the revolver sticking out of his pocket. So he quietly brought out all his cash, handed it to him, and asked him to just leave. But still, the guy kept demanding coffee. Suddenly, he grabbed Shrivi, the female worker, and held her hostage. Shrivi screamed for help while Party told his daughter Chintu to sit quietly in a corner. Then Party started making coffee for the man because he knew any sudden move could cause a disaster. But this psycho had something else in mind. He had already started harassing Shrivi. At that moment, the rest of the gang entered and saw that Party had already placed the money on the table.
Their leader said the job was done and ordered the psycho to let the girl go so they could leave, but the psycho didn't agree. Since there were CCTV cameras inside the shop, he decided he would kill Parthi and everyone else. Hearing the psycho's plan, Parthi pretended to make coffee, but suddenly smashed a glass over the guy's head. Right away, the rest of the gang rushed him, but Parthi fought back fiercely and gave them a brutal beating. His fighting skills were unbelievable, and honestly, watching him beat those thugs felt incredibly satisfying, especially since their behavior had been so disgusting. But during the brawl, his entire coffee shop was getting torn apart. On top of that, the psycho managed to stab him from behind, leaving him slightly injured. Even then, Parthi didn't stop. He kept fighting like a man possessed. Suddenly, the gang leader grabbed Shruti and held a knife to her throat. He ordered the psycho to finish Parthi off. But instead of attacking Parthi, the psycho suddenly turned toward Chintu.
Seeing his little girl about to be attacked, Party completely lost it. With lightning speed, he rolled across the floor, grabbed the fallen revolver, and in one smooth motion started firing. One by one, every single gangster went down with a perfect headshot. The way he executed them so cleanly and precisely made him look less like a cafe owner and more like a professional sharpshooter. But he is only a coffee shop owner. So how did he get this kind of skill? After killing everyone, he also breaks down and starts crying because he never thought in his life that he would kill people like this. Anyway, the next day the police come and collect all the dead bodies. According to the rules, they also take him into custody because until the court proves him innocent, the case will continue against him. On the other side, the wife of one dead gangster takes an oath. She says the man who did this to her husband will burn before her husband's funeral fire. In the court, the case goes on for many days. The other lawyer raises a big question: how could Party shoot so perfectly at everyone's head? Because of this doubt, now Party has to take a shooting test. And in that shooting test, he again hits every target perfectly. After this, the court learns that all the men Party killed had more than 50 cases against them.
They were all dangerous gangsters. By killing them, Parthi actually helped society. He was only trying to defend himself and his daughter. His lawyer also reminds the court that this is the same man who risked his life some days ago to rescue people, like in the hyena rescue case. A man like him would never kill anyone without a reason. After hearing everything, the court declares Parthi not guilty. The government even talks about giving him an award of honor. But even though the hard time is over, Parthi cannot return to his old simple life. From an ordinary man, he has now become a famous person in the whole country. Every newspaper prints his name. Still, he cannot escape from the trauma of this accident. For almost 10 days after the incident, he stays inside his house like in quarantine. During these days, he does not even open his coffee shop. But finally, after his wife speaks to him with truth and care, he takes his family out for shopping in the market. Parthi is now so famous that everyone around him greets him with respect. But while shopping in the market, he suddenly gets a phone call from a police officer. The officer tells him that according to secret information, a gang is planning to take revenge and kill him. Before the officer even finishes speaking, someone suddenly attacks Parthi from behind and tries to choke him with a rope. At that moment, Satya and Siddharth, along with Chintu, are in another corner of the market. Even while struggling to breathe, Parthi grabs the man from behind and stabs him with his own knife. After that, he throws himself into a massive fight against the attackers. Almost 15-20 men armed with sharp weapons come at him, but Parthi cuts them down one by one. Honestly, this level of action can easily beat any Bollywood fight scene. No matter how many times they try to hurt him, not a single scratch lands on his body. Instead, when one man manages to hit him, Parthi gets even angrier and starts finishing everyone with deadly knife strikes. Finally, even the leader of the gang comes forward to fight, but he too gets brutally brutally beaten by Party. By then, Sakya rushes in from the other side and sees Party destroying all the gangsters like they are nothing. Seeing this terrifying sight of him, Satya is completely shocked. He realizes that a monster has awakened inside Party, something he had never seen before. Finally, Party finishes off all the gangsters and heads straight to the police station. There, he requests police protection for himself, but the officer on duty refuses and even insults him, calling him a mere small-time coffee seller. When Party's friend Joshi tries to intervene, the officer starts yelling at him too. Party, unable to control his anger, grabs the officer by the neck with full force. Even with Joshi and almost everyone else in the station trying to stop him, Party almost strangles the officer unconscious before finally letting him go. Joshi then explained that because Party has no visible injuries, the police naturally won't provide protection. To make it official, Party asks Joshi to leave a mark on his back using a hammer. With no other option, Joshi follows his instructions and Party goes straight to the judge. Showing the mark, he successfully demands police protection. The local SP, seeing the injury, immediately gets busy arranging the protection, but the officer assigned to protect Party is none other than Napoleon, the same heroic police constable from the Kaiti movie, who once saved 40-50 policemen single-handedly and got promoted for his bravery. Seeing this stout and seemingly simple man in charge, Party is initially skeptical, but he decides to trust him for his own protection. The next day, Party reopens his coffee shop, which had been closed for a long time, and starts setting it up anew. However, during their work, someone secretly takes a photo of him and runs away. Soon after, that photo gets sent to another person's phone, hinting that new trouble may be on the horizon. The photo eventually reaches a gangster, who immediately takes it to his boss, Anthony, a notorious criminal known for his ruthlessness and brutality. But the moment Anthony sees Party's photo, his eyes widen in shock. He grabs an old picture frame and starts breaking it apart. Inside the frame is Party's photo. The question arises, why does Anthony even have Party's photo? Could it mean that Party himself is some kind of gangster? The tension escalates as Anthony, recognizing the photo, rushes out with his fleet of cars. The truth soon emerges. The person in the photo is Leota Das, Anthony's own son. Anthony then tells his brother that if Party truly is Leo, not even 400 men would be enough to take him down. But if he is just an ordinary man, even 4 people could handle him. So now the mystery. Who exactly is Leo? And how did this twist enter Party's life? Slowly the story begins to unravel. Anthony and his men quietly arrived in Party's city and settled into his cafe area. After observing him for some time, Shruti informs Party about Anthony's presence. Party approaches Anthony, who, upon seeing him, is stunned. His sharp eyes immediately recognize the man in front of him. This is indeed his son, Leo. However, Party shows no sign of excitement. He interacts calmly, as if talking to any stranger. To test him further, Anthony asks Party to make him a cup of coffee. When Party asks how much sugar to add, Anthony replies casually, as if expecting him to know all these details. Even when Party asks about the size of the sugar cubes, Anthony gives the same answer, subtly acknowledging that Party already knows all these details. Anthony then takes out a pack of cigarettes and asks Party if he recognizes the brand. When Party says no, Anthony shocks him by saying, "This D-Lush brand of cigarettes? You are the owner, Leo." But Party, still unaware of his own hidden identity, replies honestly, "Brother, I'm not Leo. I don't understand what you're trying to say." Anthony looks at Party intently and says, "I know you very well. You are my son, Leo." He then takes Party to a place called Mount View Lodge, insisting that he accept his identity as Leo. Yet Party remains silent, refusing to acknowledge anything. Suddenly, Anthony pulls out a can of alcohol. Party immediately stops him, saying, "No alcohol is allowed in this cafeteria." Hearing this, Anthony bursts out laughing. Why? Because Leo, the boy he once knew, couldn't go a moment without drinking. Now seeing Party refuse alcohol, Anthony is completely convinced that Party is indeed his long-lost son, Leo. After Anthony leaves, Party tells Joshi about the incident. Joshi investigates and confirms that Anthony Das had a son named Leo Das, whose face perfectly matches Party's. Anthony and Leo were also the owners of a cigarette brand called D-Slash, though their factory had mysteriously shut down years ago. Joshi then asks Party about his childhood. Party reveals that he grew up in an orphanage, and only through life circumstances, his true identity and marriage, did he end up in this city. Party is still completely unaware of the dramatic revelations about to unfold. The next day, as Party opens his cafeteria, he notices a stranger sitting inside. When he approaches, the man quickly flees. Meanwhile, Party's wife, Satya, is attacked outside a pharmacy by a gang, the same gang whose 5 members Party had killed earlier. Just as one of them is about to stab her, Anthony suddenly appears, grabbing the attacker's hand and eliminating all of them in seconds. Anthony then walks up to Satya and says, "Your husband, Party, is my son, Leo. The day you find out his true identity, make sure you meet him." After saying this, Anthony left and Satya came back home. Even though Anthony had left, his car was still parked outside. His men were following Satya and Party's whole family. Satya called Party to tell him what was happening. He told Siddharth to come home from school with Varsha because he felt the family might be attacked again. Siddharth had always been the champion in throwing Varsha in school competitions. Party told him, "If you see anything suspicious, throw Varsha immediately." Siddharth reached home early and ran toward the house. As he entered, he accidentally threw Varsha at someone he thought was a threat. The stone went just above Party's shoulder and hit the wall, missing him by only an inch. Seeing this, Satya became scared and shouted at him. She realized that living in constant fear like this was stressful and dangerous for the family. Meanwhile, Napoleon returned and Party scolded him for not doing his job properly. The next day, Satya and Joshi started researching Party and Anthony. Satya suspected that Party might actually be Leo. She thought this because of his aggression and the way he had killed so many people. Satya sent all of Party's certificates for verification to see if they were real. She also told Party to go to the head office for work, but her real goal was to investigate his past. At the same time, Joshi went to the prison to meet D'Souza, an old associate of Leo, to gather more information about Party. Many years ago, when Leo died, only one of his old associates survived. He was scheduled to be executed in 3 days. Joshi asked him about Leo's past, and he started explaining. In 1999, in Andhra Pradesh, India, there was a huge cigarette company called Das & Co., owned by Anthony Das. Anthony, along with his brother Harold Das, ran many illegal businesses behind their tobacco company, including drugs.
Harold had studied in Canada and had connections with the local drug cartels there. They used flowers called dhatura to make drugs and sell them. Anthony and Harold dreamed of making their business huge and becoming the biggest drug cartel in the world. Leo, Anthony's son, was responsible for handling the dark side of the business. Whenever there was a problem, he would solve it himself. Once, when nearly 2,000 kilograms of drugs were caught at a police checkpoint, Leo personally went there, beat up the police, took back all the drugs, and even killed a few of them. When he returned to the factory, he saw 2 of his men fighting. These men were the reason the 2,000 kilograms of drugs had been caught. Leo immediately killed one of them. But the person he killed was not just anyone. He was one of Leo's closest friends. For the business though, friendships did not matter. This shows how dangerous and ruthless Leo really was. Then Leo shot several of that man's friends like they were birds. He never hesitated when killing someone. His hand was always steady. At that moment, another man tried to stab Leo in the neck, but from behind, his sister Eliza came. Eliza looked exactly like Leo, a female version of him. Eliza was always Leo's partner in crime. Together, they carried out all the murders and violent acts for Das & Co. Meanwhile, their father Anthony's superstitions were growing stronger every day. He was searching for a person whose skills were perfect and believed that if he offered a sacrifice to this person, his business would grow thousands of times. The astrologer told Anthony something almost impossible. He had to sacrifice either Leo or Eliza, one of his own children, to keep his superstition alive. Anthony didn't know whom to choose, but Harold told him that sacrificing Leo would be better. Still, Anthony, without thinking twice, decided to offer one of his children. He told Leo to convince him, but then decided that Eliza would be the sacrifice. Hearing this, Leo's mind went completely blank. He shouted, "For the business, we have already killed so many people with our own hands. If anything happens to either of us, I will run this factory myself." But the crazy Anthony, like a madman, told him he had to offer Eliza in front of Leo. Leo couldn't control himself. He broke free from the chair where he was tied. Both
Leo and Elisa then set the factory on fire with torches. Seeing this, Harold first killed Leo's two partners and captured Elisa. Then, in front of Leo, he cut Elisa's throat. Leo watched helplessly as his sister fell dead right in front of him. Leo ran to save her, but Elisa died in his arms. In a rage, he charged at Harold, but from behind, Anthony shot him. According to DeSouza, Leo died right there. In this way, Anthony killed both of his children just for his business. When Josh heard this story from DeSouza, he realized that Leo was really dead. That meant Parthiban could not be Leo. Meanwhile, Satya started collecting all information about Parthiban from someone who knew him since childhood. At the same time, Parthiban suddenly got news that a dead body had been found hanging in his cafe area. This was the same man who had shouted when he saw Parthiban, saying, "I found my friend," and had taken a photo. It was obvious who had killed him and hung him there. It was Anthony. The police wanted to question Parthiban, but he quickly returned home because he had left Satya and Chintu alone. At home, he picked up the file of certificates that Napoleon had given him the day before. Parthiban saw that Satya had verified all his certificates and even checked his handwriting. Seeing all this, he felt completely broken. When Satya returned, Parthiban gave her the file and cried. All the certificates in the file were real, but he never imagined that Satya would doubt him like this. Satya explained that she was only trying to get proof to protect him from the harsh words of people around them because everyone was starting to suspect Parthiban. She still loved him just as before. Suddenly, Parthiban received a call from Anthony. When he answered, Anthony said because Parthiban hadn't come to meet him, he had come here himself. From outside, the shouts of Napoleon could be heard as he tried to stop them. Anthony then asked Parthiban to find out where his son was. When Parthiban didn't see him inside the house, he realized Siddharth was now in Anthony's hands. Anthony said that exactly 20 years ago, on this day, he had killed Parthiban's sister Elisa. That was why, on this same day, he had taken Parthiban's son. You can already imagine how dangerous Anthony's plan was. After saying this, he left with all his men. Parthiban took his family to a safe place and got on his bike. Napoleon joined him because he had promised to protect Parthiban's family even with his life. While riding, Parthiban took Napoleon's gun in his hands and started shooting at the cars chasing them. As he fired, he managed to destroy several of the enemy's vehicles. Using his gun, Parthiban smashed another car. Suddenly, his own car started losing control while running. He told Napoleon to handle the bike, then jumped into a moving car. This chase scene was so intense that only people who saw it in the movie can really understand it. Meanwhile, Napoleon got seriously hurt while controlling the bike. Parthiban destroyed several more cars with his vehicle. Finally, when two of Anthony's cars blocked his way, he crashed but managed to get out of the vehicle. Anthony then sent his men to attack him. It took Parthiban less than 5 minutes to defeat all of them. Anthony himself came and told Parthiban to admit that he was Leo. But Parthiban said, "No, I'm not Leo, I'm Parthiban." Right after that, a huge fight started between them. The fight went on for a long time because both were equally strong and skilled. Parthiban got badly hit by Anthony, but kept fighting. Anthony said that he couldn't finish Leo. Hearing this, Parthiban got furious and started attacking Anthony with full force, smashing his head against the car rims.
Even so, Anthony did not reveal where Siddharth was. Before dying, he asked Parthiban one last time to admit he was Leo, but Parthiban refused and killed him. Meanwhile, Josh told Parthiban to leave the place safely. At that moment, Harold called to say that Siddharth was with him. He said that if Parthiban wanted his son alive, he must take Anthony along. But Anthony had already died. Parthiban put Anthony's body in an ambulance and headed to Siddharth. Following their plan, he reached a railway station and met Harold's men. Those men used Anthony's body as a decoy and brought Parthiban directly to Harold by train. In front of Harold, Parthiban acted like an innocent child. He showed all his certificates, his wedding photos, and other proof, but still could not convince Harold of the truth. Harold kept telling Parthiban again and again, "Admit it, you are Leo." But Parthiban still denied it. Harold shouted, "You fool! You came here to save your son and left your wife and daughter alone at home. Now who will protect them?" Right after saying this, Harold called some of his men and told them to enter Parthiban's house and kill Sata and Chintu. Parthiban kept begging Harold not to let his men inside and to spare Siddharth. But Harold didn't listen at all. As soon as the men entered, a strange story began to unfold. Every step they took triggered deadly traps set by Parthiban. Sharp weapons came from the floor and struck him. Parthiban had prepared death traps for every intruder. Even so, some men managed to get inside. Parthiban had hidden Napoleon in a corner, ready to help Joshi and the others. Even in his seriously injured state, Parthiban sat in a chair and used his rifle to kill several intruders. One man threw a knife at him, and it hit him, causing him to fall to the ground. Yet he still managed to finish off the attackers. Finally, only their leader got inside. Sata quickly closed another room with Chintu inside, but the leader broke through the door. Meanwhile, Harold kept calling him. When the leader answered, Harold told him that all Parthiban's traps had killed the other intruders. He also said that Parthiban's wife and daughter were in front of him. Instead of killing them, Harold told the leader to turn the phone toward them and demanded that Parthiban admit he was Leo in exchange for their safety. But Parthiban suddenly said the name Subramani. At that moment, Subramani, who had been hiding in a corner, appeared. His roar sounded somewhat like a human laugh. Hearing this, Harold asked, "Why are you laughing?" But before Harold could finish, Subramani attacked the leader, tearing him apart. Furious that his men failed, Harold kicked Parthiban down. Now, the innocent look on Parthiban's face disappeared. When Harold's men tried to attack him, he started killing them one by one. Even though they all tried to stop him together, Parthiban fought them like a storm. He took many hits, but nothing could stop him. At one point, Harold grabbed a chain and swung it at him, hitting him hard. Then, Harold tried to pull Parthiban up with the chain. Even while hanging, Parthiban kept fighting and killing more men. It was like he was one man against 100. Watching him, it seemed like he was stronger than the best martial artists in the world. When Parthiban pulled the chain himself, Harold fell from above. Their fight began. Harold told his men to handle Siddharth while he fought Parthiban. Harold was very strong and could hurt Parthiban, but Parthiban fought back just as hard. The fight went on for a long time. Finally, Harold stabbed Parthiban in the chest. The knife cut him a little, but it did not stop him. Parthiban dodged the other attacks and kept hitting Harold. It seemed like the fight would never end. Then Harold attacked again with a knife, but Parthiban pulled out his revolver in his classic karate style. Harold got scared and said, "I understand. You are not Leo. Let's end this fight." But Parthiban surprised him by smiling like the old Leo. Even though he had denied it before, his old gangster side finally came out. Using his classic style, Parthiban shot Harold in the head and killed him. Then he ran to Siddharth, but Harold's henchman was still holding him. Parthiban signaled, and Siddharth took the knife from the man and hurt him. Then, in his full style, Parthiban killed the man completely. Laughing, he said, "I warned everyone many times, but no one listened. They brought this on themselves." Years later, Leo finally took revenge for his sister's death, even though he had not wanted revenge. Leo wanted to forget the past and live a normal life. He even started a new family, but his father and uncle forced him to go back to his old ways. For Parthiban, Leo's old identity was now gone. He didn't want to show his old self to anyone anymore. After finishing everything, Leo burned Anthony's whole factory to the ground. He also made Siddharth promise to tell his mother that Harold had accepted him as Parthiban. Finally, Leo returned home with his son. Everyone sat down and started eating like normal. Then, Parthiban remembered that he hadn't closed the gate. As he went to close it, he got a phone call. Someone on the other side said, "Just burning one factory won't finish this. To make all of India drug-free, you will need to run many more factories, Parthiban." "Oh, sorry, Leo, this person actually knew his real identity." But who was this person? From the way he spoke, it seemed like it was Vikram. If that's true, we might see some amazing crossovers in upcoming movies. As soon as those movies are released, this channel will explain everything. Until then, stay safe and healthy. See you in the next video.